So today we're here with Fernando Paiva, head coach of the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy in St. Louis. Thank you so much for being here and for showing you add a lot of valuable information for those international students.
My pleasure, Ivan.
So,
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everybody's watching. Nice to meet you. I'm Fernando. I'm the head coach at UHSP here in St. Louis. And today I'm going to be answering some questions and helping you guys out about understanding what it is to come to the US and how does it work.
great. And especially I'm not going to make the spoiler. So tell us a bit about your journey, like how you got, to head of esports.
Yeah, so I came to the US in 2009 as a tennis player. I played 4 years of college tennis. Then I coached 2 more years at another university as a graduate assistant where I got my master's. After that, I started working here in a tennis academy and I stayed there for 5 years. Within my last year on the tennis academy, that's when we had the pandemic and I was at home and I tried to find other jobs. And one of the jobs that came by me was casting and later and after that working with a tier 3 esports team online. So then I started working. The game in this case was League of Legends, but it could be any other game. And I started working with the League of Legends team. We played a couple seasons together. We did very well. On the first season, I got at the end of the season, and we saved them from being relegated to the second division. On this case, the fourth division. And on the second season, we worked together. We got second place in the tournament, so it was a very, very big development. And then after that, I got an offer to go cover the World Tournament for League of Legends in Europe. It was Germany, Spain, and France, if I remember correctly. And I spent there, and then after that, I came straight to this university where I've been the head coach for the past 3 years.
That's great. And was there like a esport club before you came here, or you started like everything from zero? And how was this transition? Because you also have like a varsity team. So like, how was the? Explain a bit about that story there.
No, yeah, of course. So when I got here, the students were asking for a esports team, and I was hired. So they put the place together. They got the facility, they got the computers, they got everything, and they hired me to develop a team. Right. So I developed the program from scratch, and we worked on selecting the games, selecting the leagues we're gonna play, and developing everything within the program, like its structure. And all the daily routine stuff, that the standards and everything, as well as practice matches and everything. And for the last 3 years, we've been developing into many different games. Into we have a bunch of varsity teams. Some of our teams are going to start having junior varsity right now, and we keep adding more games. And we're gonna keep adding more games. But at this point, we are starting to work on our JV teams as well, junior varsity.
Great. And also your uni is very like academic first and very focused on that. Like, can you tell us a bit like how big of an impact does your academic excellence make you, like gain that esports scholarship? Like how much you value a high GPA or like extracurricular activities in a student going to go to the esports program?
Yeah, so grades are very important for us. We are very highly respected and very highly academically inclined within the US, especially if you come for anything like pharmacy or anything on the health field. Those are stronger points. Right now, we have a new data science and computer science programs that they are amazing as well. They're going to be a strong suit within the next 5 to 10 years. And we really, really prioritize being a student first and being a player later. So you're going to be a student first, then you're going to be an athlete. So the grades will always come first. The grades will always be the most important thing. And it's very, very important because our university provides such a high return of investment from when you graduate from us, that we set you at a high standard so you can be a good professional whenever you finish your degree.
That's great. That's great. And because the students like with like class practice competition, how about they schedule? Like, what are like some? Do you provide them like strategies or like ways to cope, with this tight schedule so they don't like oversaturate?
So we do have a lot of help on campus. We have a lot of counselors that help you with your class schedule, with your life schedule, with your work schedule, with your routines and everything else. But what I do is on the beginning of the semester, and I'm going to be doing that in 2 weeks, is to get the everybody's class schedule per team. So I get the League of Legends team, I get the Rocket League team, the Overwatch team, and I get their class schedules. And I'll get their class schedules and I say, okay, we have a break from this time to this time. So we're gonna practice on these days and this time. So when I schedule the practices, I do all the practice based on their schedule. That does make me work more. There are days that I go from one practice to the other, to the other, to the match, and I stay up until 11 o'clock there. But I don't mind. It's a good. It's to me, it doesn't really matter. So I'm glad that I can help them to have a little relief from their schedule. But in most cases, when you're a college athlete, you have classes in the morning. You have 2 or 3 hours of classes in the morning. Then you have lunch, and then you might have one in the afternoon or two. But most of the day is going to be for your homework, for your workout if you work out, or for whatever else you do. And then you're going to have 2 to 3 hours of practice every day. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, or 4 days a week, depending on what leagues you're playing and how your team works.
That's great. And what is that? For example, when you're having a meeting, with the student, what is that? Is that you focus on to see if the student is a good fit for your
Oh, so
program?
when I'm recruiting,
Yeah.
yeah. So there are a few things that we do. Of course, the academics and the level of playing are very important,
Hmm.
but the communication and the way the student shows interest are a big one as well.
Hmm.
No coach likes to talk to a student where you're like, "Hey, how's it going? Is everything okay?" They go, "Yeah." So we like people that try to communicate. Myself being from Brazil, I understand that when you start talking in English is not the most natural thing, but there is a difference between trying and not trying. So even if you don't speak a good English, try speaking it, try to communicate with the coach, show that you're interested. Also, most coaches will look at Twitter, Instagram, and social media to see if you don't do anything that's toxic, any bad behavior. So those are all things that we look for, as well as one thing that is very important for us is questions. So we really like when students ask questions, because shows that they want to know more about us, about the university, about the team. So show that they want to do this and not that they're being pushed to do this, or that they are thinking that they're going for a vacation for 4 years. We want students that show interest and students that really want to be here and graduate and get grades and play well.
That's right. And also, like, the skills you're looking for, like, let's say communication, team, like, what are the skills that, say, top three that you value the most from a player, or that you develop in the player, so you want them to have it at least a bit, so then when they go to a program, you can develop them even
So
more.
communication is a big one. Communication, a positive attitude is another one. It's a very important thing to know that the student is trying to do their best and getting the best as he or she can, and they want to get better every time. And that's the third thing, is wanting to get better. A lot of people, when they get to a higher rank on their game, like, oh, I'm a SSL in Rocket League, or I'm a challenger in League of Legends, or I'm top whatever in the world. Like, people get comfortable, and that's when they start going downhill. So people that keep pushing themselves and keep showing that they are interested and they want to get better in whatever they do, those are amazing traits that we always value as a coach.
Okay. And in terms of like communication skills, like how do you improve it? How do you coach it within your program to players?
So there are a few things. The first one is communicating within the team, right? There are certain things that
Hmm.
we do to work on communication. One thing that I love doing, and my League of Legends players don't like it until they start seeing the difference, is on the first week I tell them I want them calling everything, like from, oh, I put a ward here, or oh, I'm going that way, or I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and then slowly we start taking it back, because it's a lot easier to overdo it and then take it back a little bit than to not do it all and try to learn a little bit. So I tell them on the first day, they are not allowed, on the first day specifically, they are not allowed to not talk during the game. And it becomes very chaotic. That's why people don't like it. And I myself don't like if I'm playing. But whenever you go from super chaotic and you start taking it down, that makes life easier. But that's just in game, right? So within communicating with other people, I make sure that I explain them, hey, when you're going to the cafeteria, make sure you say please and thank you. When you're talking to your academic advisor, make sure you explain them what is your goal and what classes you want to take. When you're talking to your teammates, even if you don't agree to what they're saying, make sure you tell them in a respectful way. Don't yell, don't raise your voice. So those are all little things that we talk through throughout the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, where they slowly progress, they slowly get better.
That's great. That's great. And like going back a bit to recruiting, like just out of curiosity, like how do you make sure? Let's put League of Legends as an example. How do you make sure those five personalities are like fit together? Like like how do you make sure you find five? Because not every student has to have leadership skills. It depends on their position. Like how do
Yes.
you make sure you with those five students and they and
So that
community.
is a big challenge for sure. And that's where the part where working on their respect and communicating with their teammates is very important. So for example, I'll tell Ivan, I really like your white shirt. And you tell me, oh, this is white, but I don't like it. And I'm like, well, but that's a nice shirt. And you tell me, oh, I don't think my shirt's nice. I'll be saying, oh, okay, you have your opinion and I respect that, but I respectfully think your shirt is nice. So it's much better speaking that way with your teammates than saying, I don't care what you think, your shirt's nice, shut up. So people don't respond well to that kind of conversation. So you need to be able to express your ideas and what you're thinking without being toxic, without being disrespectful to your teammates. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna play with them for 4 years or 3 or 2, depending on what year you come and what year they graduate. But it's gonna be years. So you need to communicate and express your feelings in a positive way. Another thing that I really like to do is events. Like for example, on the first week when they get to campus, we're gonna have a pizza night for all the teams, and everybody's gonna eat together, get to know each other. We do things like we have Pokemon Go that we go raid together. We have events that we go like Mario Kart, Mario Party. We have a lot of things that we do that bring people together within the program. And even if you don't like someone, which I don't have that very often, but even if you don't like someone, you learn how to respect and live with that person within your environment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, of course. Like, yeah, 'cause the other question I had in mind when you were talking was like, how do you, like make? Because one of the most like difficult things at times is like developing that team spirit in a team, but like having events, and parties with the team, like pizza night, and all that stuff is is pretty amazing. So that's and just to get a bit like students a bit more pumped up, like, can you explain like the infrastructure of the technology that the program has?
Yeah, so we have an arena. Our arena has its own internet, separate from campus. So we don't have any delays, no lags, no internet connection issues, nothing like that. Within the arena, we have computers that were bought 3 years ago, and we are about to update them very soon, especially the VGU and the CPU. But right now, at this moment, the computers are doing very well. So we're not updating this year, but we will shortly. And it's a very simple thing. Like you have a computer, your computer gets certain equipment, your equipment will last for certain games until the games require more, right? For example, if you have a really old computer and you play Counter Strike, next month when Counter Strike 2 comes out, that might be an issue. So you might have to update a VGU, you might need to update a CPU, RAM, or something, right? That's simple. You open the computer, put it in, put it out. So our facility has all the setup, it has all the monitors, all the keyboard, mouse, like a full setup in, of course, chairs. This one for is Secret Labs. That's the one I have at home. But we have Vertagear, which is a really good brand, really pushes your back, like a good posture. So we do have very good quality materials in our facility, and we have about 30 stations where each student gets their own station for the year, and they're welcome to set up a webcam if they want to create content. They're welcome to set up a microphone. whatever they want to do.
Is the are the facilities open 24/7? There's a time
We
limit.
are open. We're open 20 hours a day. I close between 2 and 6 a.m., like 2 in the morning to 6 in the morning, because I don't want them to sleep there. If I leave it open 24 hours, I have a few students that would stay there and they would like go to class without sleeping, and that is not ideal. So we do not do that, unfortunately.
Not so you go there and close it at 2 a.m. and then open it at 6 a.m.
So no, they have access cards that
Ah, okay,
they
okay,
can access the arena. But yeah, whenever most of the days I'm there late, but not that late. But I'm a little bit later there, so it's never been a problem.
that's right. And if the student has like an exam or a presentation due, and it interacts with competition, like how does that work? Like the student has to communicate with the professor like way in advance that this will happen. Are the professors, do they understand that they're at least representing the university? Like how would that play?
So it really depends on the university. In our case, yes. In our case, the athletes talk to the teacher and say, "Hey, I have a tournament in 2 weeks, and the tournament is going to be whatever. I'm going to travel there, and I'm sorry, I'm going to have to miss your class." The teacher will understand that you're an athlete representing the university, and the teacher will let you miss class. The teacher will give you all the subjects taught in class. That way, you don't fall behind. And if by any chance you have a test or a quiz, those will be rescheduled. In when you talk to your teacher, you guys will figure out a date to reschedule it. That's our university because we are varsity under athletics. So our goal is to have esports to be just like any other sport, like basketball, soccer, sorry, football, uh, volleyball, whatever other sport has, we have. So our goal is to make esports just as important as any traditional sports, and we're doing this here. Now, other universities they might have esports under student life, or they might not even have. They might be a club. Those universities they might not have what I said. The teachers will require you to go to class because they don't consider esports as a real sport, which is sad. But there are still some places that have that. In our case, no. In our case, we have esports at the same level as any other sport on campus.
That is great. That is great. And can you tell us a bit about like during the year, do you guys go to any LAN events like for students to experience that in person? You know, that's the
Yeah,
most fun, basically.
we do. We do. We have about 2 or 3 LAN events a year,
Mhm.
depending on the year, depending on what events are possible. And we also go to Comic Con every year. The Comic Con in Kansas City, Planet Comic Con. It's a very nice event. They have Smash Bros. They have a few other games there that we go there and have a lot of fun. Uh, but we have 3 or 4 big tournaments that we go to. Those are normally organized by a couple different organizations. We go there, we play. Normally, we leave on Saturday morning or Friday night and we come back on Sunday afternoon. It's a very fun time. We play a lot of matches. We play many different games. Sometimes they have little events within the tournament, like 1v1 competitions and things like that. So always a fun time to go.
That's great. And just to wrap this up, you know, like as a personal opinion, do you think like esports is gonna gradually develop its own department? Like, do you think it's gonna be under athletics? Like taking into consideration that it's esports and there's like a lot of video games and
Yeah.
sometimes even more than sports.
Yes.
Like, how do you see this playing like in the future of collegiate esports?
So in collegiate, I don't think so. I think esports will always be considered a sport because what I like to compare is esports to American football. For example, if you have an American football team, you're going to have an offensive team, you're going to have a defensive team, you're going to have a special team. Those are 3 teams in one sport, right? That's American football. Uh, Esports follow the same concept. So I believe the same way that football is under athletics. Esports will be always under athletics in the future. But I don't know. I might be wrong. It'll be nice if we have like a whole esports department and each team have their own coach. That would be great. I don't think that's going to happen in most universities because the cost for the university will be very high. But I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I just don't know how that's gonna go. But I believe that in the future, within the next 5 to 10 years, most schools will have that under athletics, just like any other traditional sport.
That's great, Fernando. Well, thank you so much for your time. And where can people find you and your program?
You can find me on uhsp.edu. You can email fernando.paiva. You can see it right here on the screen, fernando.paiva@uhsp.edu. You can email esports@uhsp.edu, and me or my assistant coach will reply right away. Uh, Ivan here from Esportian Education has my Discord, so he can give you my Discord if you need it. And yeah, just feel free to email me Discord or anything, and I'll be more than happy to talk, help, and just let me know what I can do.
Well, Fernando, thank you for your time. And we stay in touch as always.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Sportian, for inviting me to do this talk. Thank you, student or parent, that you're listening to this. Uh, my goal is to help everybody to come to the US, get their degrees, and move with their life and become a better human being. So, whatever I can do to help, just let me know and I'll help. Thank you.